Ooh, my life, my life. Ooh, yeah. Okay, think this should be working by now. So I'm like a day late on this one for my Sunday live at 5. What, I'm a day late and like an hour or so? Well, stuff happens. I was busy. I don't know. Anyway, so sometimes I'm talking about how it kind of sucks seeing all these online videos of like police just trampling on people's rights, stopping people illegally, doing illegal searches, and just all this. There's so many videos of this crap online now on YouTube, and it's nice that this stuff is being shown now because hopefully there's going to be pressure to stop that kind of stuff. But it's really depressing to see how much of it there is, right? It's crazy, and these police don't get. There's no real recourse for it, right? Mr. Landfill, what's going on? So anyway, the other day, this video pops up on my YouTube thing, and it's saying something about, what was the title? Something like, "Are cops really that bad?" And I'm like, oh, maybe this is going to be, some light in the darkness, some positive thing about the good police officers in the world. That you see a lot of this bad stuff, but there's got to be a lot of good ones too, right? So I'm like, well, let me click on that because maybe this is going to be a positive thing, right? So it's this former police officer, and he starts talking about how there's a lot of videos online of police doing this horrible stuff, and oh, Mr. Landfill, you've been in the hospital? It's terrible. I hope you're doing all right, man. All right, let me just get through this. Anyway, he's talking about how a lot of police officers are just trampling on people's rights and stuff, and not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And he's saying, but are they all really, bad guys? And he goes on to explain the culture in the police force, in the police department. And he was saying, I think he was a police officer in LA or somewhere in California, and he's saying there are like 700 officers in the kind of the area where he works. And out of those 700 officers, he and 3 other guys, 4 of them, like would complain or file complaints or speak up when they were ordered to do something illegal. So that's less than 1%. just to do a bit of math there. And he was trying to say that, all these other guys aren't bad guys doing this bad stuff, just following his orders. It's just there's this culture in the police departments, in the police forces, where you are strongly, and I'm really paraphrasing, shortening it. It was a pretty long video. He had a much better explanation of this. But there is a lot of incentive for police officers to follow orders rather than follow the law, which is just a disturbing thing. So anyway, he's saying there's so much pressure to follow orders rather than follow the law that police officers, knowing that they're breaking the law, will do what they've been ordered to do so they can get a promotion or not get the crappy assignment, so they can get whatever perks come with following the orders, just doing what they're told. And he and a few other guys would speak up, and they would always get they wouldn't get fired or anything, but they would get the crappy assignment. They wouldn't get the promotion and stuff. They just kind of get crap treatment and get evil glares and stuff. And he was saying that the police force has become, and he was a police officer for 20 years, and he saw this happening more and more as time was going on. And the police force became more and more militarized in terms of, just police having machine guns in their cars, and just more bullets and more guns and bigger guns and all this stuff. And also just following orders instead of following the law, that's more militarization, right? And the whole thing was pretty disturbing because at that point the police force isn't there to protect and serve people anymore. it's an invasion force. Like it's a militarized force. It's an army. And if they're not taking orders from the country where they are, as in not following the law of that country, I wonder, where are they getting these orders? So basically what he was explaining was that, and he didn't say it like this was just my take on it, but he was basically explaining that the way police forces work today in the United States is that they are invading armies who follow orders that are coming from somewhere, and they don't follow the law. They're not there to protect and serve people. They're not there to follow the law or take care of the people who are citizens that they're supposed to be taking care of. No, they're there to follow orders that are coming from who knows where, to like basically be an occupying army in the United States. It's so crazy to think about. Like that's what the police force is, and that it totally explains why there's so many videos online of police stopping people for no reason and just ripping them out of their car and throwing them on the ground, beating people up for no reason, all this crazy stuff. It is pretty cool that people are starting to fight back, recording and saying, whoa, I know my rights, you can't do this. And I mean, the problem there is the police who are doing these kind of things, they never really get punished at all because they're following orders. They're doing what whoever's in charge wants them to do. So that was pretty disturbing. Anyway, let's talk about something less disturbing. Oh, my track upstairs. Oh, it's amazing. I love it. Oh, it's so good. It's funny. I just made a video about the track, and I was running on the track, and I watched the video and I was like, man, it does not look like I'm running that fast. Felt like I was running a lot faster than it looks like I'm running. And then I thought about it. I did a little bit of math in my head real quick. I might have gotten this wrong, but I think if you're running fast enough to be leaning over at 30 degrees and the track is banked at 30 degrees, and I'll get up on it and run so I'm like basically perpendicular to the bank. So I'm running at 30 degrees. That means I'm experiencing like 15% more gravity than if I was just, straight up normal, because I've got the G-forces coming this way and the ones going this way. So it ends up being like 15% more. So that means instead of I weigh about 200 pounds. So instead of being 200-pound me running around, I'm like 230-pound me running around the track if I'm at that speed. And the thing is, and I did find it like trying to go faster it gets exponentially harder to go faster. And I think it's just because the faster you go, the more G's you experience. So it's like the heavier your body is, not that I'm heavier, but from my perspective, like I'm getting more G's. I'm experiencing a heavier body. So if I go faster, then instead of just feeling 30 pounds heavier, suddenly I'm feeling 35 pounds heavier and 40 pounds heavier. So yeah, it really, really makes it hard to go fast. Yeah, it's a really good workout. It's really cool. Another thing I love about the track is like, it's a short enough distance that when my kids are up there with me, and they always come up, even if I start running when they're all still asleep, at least the two little ones usually will come upstairs. And like one of them will run a few laps with me and then stop. And then another one will jump in for a lap. And then they keep having a lot of opportunities to jump in and run with me because I'm passing them like every, somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds because it's not that big a track, which is really cool because they can jump in and jump out anytime they want. As opposed to if I just went on like some 5-mile run, I would just be gone, and then show up again. Or if I was like, running on a 400-meter track, they'd have to like run a whole lap to get back to where they started, and then they wouldn't see me for a while. Anyway, it's just, the track is working out great. I love it. I really love it. There is still the debate of rubberizing or not rubberizing. I don't know, because the runners want to rubberize the track, but the roller skaters don't want to rubberize the track. And I might just rubberize the banked part. Of course, the roller skaters still put like one skate up on the banked part a long time. So I don't know. I don't know what I'll end up doing. Right now, though, I'm cooking something. Let me just check that the fire is still going and not burning anything. I'll be right back. Right here. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, everything's looking good. Yeah, it's like when I want to do this live, it's always like when I want to cook dinner. So it's either I wait till after and then it's real dark, or I just do it while I'm cooking. All right, let's see what's going on in comments. There's a couple other things I could talk about here, but nothing super important. Been in the hospital. Mr. Landfill, why have you been in the hospital? Internal bleeding has stopped. Why do you have internal bleeding? Man, I hope you're okay, dude. Yeah, take care of yourself, man. I don't know what I'd do on these lives without you. You know how many comments you block that I don't want to read? Oh, what would I do without Mr. Landfill? Let's see. Tony Simmons says, great, how are you? I'm pretty good. I'm not sure if you were talking to me or Mr. Landfill. Whoa, hello. Your old video projects were my favorite back then. Oh, great, man. The Oreo Ritz. Oh, I have to mention that my tablet here, the screen is kind of fritzing out a little. So if it looks like I'm drunk while I'm trying to read, it's because all the images are smeared a little. So yeah, sorry. Hopefully the camera's working fine. Off-Grid Sam. Sam Off-Grid says, hey, Jaimie, what's going on? Off-Grid Sam. Hello, Tony. The Oreo Ritz, loved your generator engine project and your dome project. Oh, I remember the generator engine project. Yeah, a lot of people like that one. I think that's like that might be my most viewed video. It's one of the top ones anyway. Yeah, the dome project, man, my old dome was awesome. I love that place. Although, I gotta admit, this new dome blows the old one away. There's no trampoline in it yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting close. This year I wanted to get the second floor done, and well, now it's done. Yeah, it's done. And I still have a couple months to spare. So next year I want to get the third floor done. And it doesn't take me a whole year to build a floor. When I built the second floor, like in January, I went out to the jungle and cut a bunch of wood and then let it dry for a while before I built the second floor. And then I built the second floor, and then some of the boards still had to dry for a while. So I just kind of tacked them down, and then a few months later, smushed them all together. So it was a kind of thing where it was like, it didn't actually take the whole year to build the floor. It was like a week or two of work here, then let things dry, and then a couple weeks there, let things dry, But yeah, hopefully next year I can get the third floor done, and that's where I want to put the trampoline. I do have a running track in this house already, though, which is pretty awesome. I never had that in my old house. Ken says, digging the beard, by the way, Jaimie. Yeah, I'm kind of digging the beard, too. I'm trying to grow it long enough that my daughter can braid it, because, I don't really have much going on up here. I guess I have lots of hair on the sides. Anyway, yeah, trying to grow it long enough my daughter can braid it. That's my plan at the moment. But we'll see. It's already collecting food up here. I'm always going eating the food out of my mustache. I gotta figure out how to eat with a beard and a mustache. I'm kind of getting it. Drinking is a thing. Anyway. My enemy says, are you an actor? Could I see you on... Wait, I could see you on Sons of Anarchy or a show like that. Well, I am an actor, but I've never done... Wait, maybe I shouldn't say never. Have I done anything that has been like... I was almost on this show... like a few years ago, a TV crew came out and they wanted to make a show about me here, and they made a pilot episode or a presentation. It wasn't really a pilot. It was somewhere between a pilot and a presentation. I don't know. They had some weird explanation for it. But the studio was like, no, that's not good enough. So yeah, mostly I just do my own stuff and just put it on YouTube. Although I met this guy who's very into photography and video a little while ago, and I was talking to him about making a movie, and I really want to get together with him and make like a full-length movie. I did make a full-length movie a couple years ago. It was partly about building this house, partly about why I built this house and my life growing up, and that kind of stuff. It's on my YouTube page. But yeah, I've never been an actor working with like Hollywood or anything like that. I have been asked a lot of times to be on shows, but it's always ended up just either. Usually, I end up saying, "Yeah, I don't want to do that." I mean, I've been on a couple little things here and there, but yeah, nothing amazing. Actually, my favorite show that I've ever been on was in Vermont. It was what's it called? Public access television. Some guy was just making this show. He was the lead singer of Guster, the band, Ryan Miller. And he was making the show and he hosted it. And I was his first episode. That was super fun because that was a situation where he was a creative guy and he had his band and everything, but he also just wanted to do some other creative thing. And he had a friend who was a camera person, and basically they were just like, let's just make a show, and they really enjoyed it and had fun doing it. That was super fun to do. I love doing that. You can find it on YouTube, I think, for free. And it wasn't like a big production thing or anything. It was just like camera person, him, me, just like hanging out, talking, showing stuff. I had a cold at the time, so I sounded like my nose was plugged the whole time. But yeah, that was super fun. Lekloy said, wait, where am I here? Camera phones ruined the party for bad cops. Yeah, yes, camera phones are ruining the party, and I hope the party really gets ruined. The problem is they're still doing it. And it's not even just the bad cops. I mean, it's bad cops because they're going along, but they're getting these orders from whoever's pulling the strings, And yeah, it's just a mess. It would be real. Could you imagine how much the world would improve if things like that just got fixed? There are a whole bunch of things like that are just obviously going wrong that could be fixed. Like a reasonably intelligent 10-year-old could say, oh, well, this is wrong. You have to do it like this instead and fix it. It's not like hard to figure out how to fix it. It's just people want to do the wrong thing. It's terrible. All right, let me just check my food again. I think it's probably done. I'm just gonna pull it in. Yeah, totally done, man. I could cook it a little more to make it more delicious, but whatever, it's good. Yeah, camera phones are really helping ruining the party for a lot of things. Deleted message. Thank you, Mr. Landfill. I presume that was a bad message. Lekloy says, have I seen you in a movie? I don't know. No problem. I don't know. Did you see the Adventure Builder movie, which is the movie I made? I didn't have a big beard in that. Well, actually, I probably had a beard in it for some of it. But no, I do like acting though. I'd love to be in some more movies. There's a movie. So what I was saying before is that, yeah, so I know this guy who's a camera guy in town, and he's very interested in, making movies and stuff. And I want to get together with him and make a movie. There's a movie I've been thinking about making for, I don't know, like 8 years or something. And I would love to make it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The problem is I need a bunch of other people to do it. it's not like a solo person kind of movie. So I would actually need like extras and a cast and a few people who would want to do it. And of course, there'd be no money in it, You're like the attorney character in every movie. The attorney character. Yes, I'm the attorney character. I would never be a lawyer, man. Yeah, there is. Yes, Mr. Landfill says there is the movie. Yeah, the Adventure Builder movie, the movie I made. Jeff, is that say Jeff Thermite? Sorry, it's really hard to read. My screen is fritzing out. I think that says Jeff Thermite. I've actually been collecting materials to make thermite. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I have 2 jugs of like, rust and aluminum bits, dust from, grinding and stuff. Anyway, Jeff Thermite says, you inspire me to build a small house in Lapland one day. Where's Lapland? I don't know where Lapland is. Where is Lapland? Lecloy says, by the comments, you build houses? I do sometimes build houses. I build a lot of things. I build houses and boats and robots and, I don't know, machines and shovels. I don't know. I build whatever I need or whatever I get inspired to build. Lately, I've mostly been building whatever I need because, how long have I been here? 2 or 3 years ago, I started building this house on this island. I'm on an island in the tropics. It's actually 2 islands, and I built a little bridge between them. So, I'm setting the place up to be amazing. So a lot of what I've been doing in the last few years is very functional. Very, what's the word? Functional, close enough. I'll think of the word in a minute. I guess I didn't really need to build a running track on the 2nd floor of my house. But I always feel a lot better when there's running in my life. It just, I've been running forever, and I feel good when I run every day, every other day. There's a lot of running, I'm trying to learn my own house right now. Do you have YouTube videos about house building? Yeah, man. Although I always build weird houses, so you can see how I built this house, it's called the Cathedral. So if you go to my YouTube channel and just look up Cathedral, you'll get a whole series of videos about me building this house. And then I built 2 houses in Alaska. One there's videos of on YouTube, and the other one on my website, there's some pictures. My website, which I don't update nearly enough, because I'm here by myself just doing all this stuff. I don't have time for all this everything. And I built a house for my kid's mom, and I built a bunch of houses and just stuff in general. Lecloy says, I just subscribed. Very good, very good, very good. Ken says, oh, my comment got censored. Oh. Can I just click a don't censor any comments thing here? I was talking about how I'm law enforcement in a prison, and I was talking about how I'm law enforcement in a prison and how they're needed. I try to treat them all the same, but some of them are very bad and hard to treat them human. Yeah, I guess if you're in a prison, you're going to run into some pretty unsavory characters, and that must be difficult when you try to treat people with respect. And you're going to run into people who are not respectful at all. I did not know you were a law enforcement officer in a prison. That's got to be a tough job sometimes. Mr. Landfill says, TV wants drama for your mama. They don't want real TV shows. So yeah, that was the problem. How many years ago? It was like 7 or 8 years ago. I got a message. We want to do a TV show with you, and I haven't gotten these actually recently, but I was getting a bunch every year from from TV studios saying, we want to do a TV show at your place. And then I would ask them some questions and I'd be like, yeah, I don't want that. But one time it actually got to the point where a TV crew came out for a week and brought out a few extra characters. My brother got to come, which was awesome. And a couple of friends that I know came because they wanted a bigger cast. And they were here for a week. I think it was a week. Spent a whole bunch of money. And just, shot a pilot episode, basically. And they kept trying to get drama to happen. And I kept telling them, hey, guys, you don't have to stir up drama. Just let me do what we do here. There will be drama. And you're saying I've got, I think, what was it? 4 other people came. So I had 4 friends who were supposed to come and hang out and help me with stuff. And I'm like, just give me my 4 friends here. Let me do what we do here. We're going to get involved in some crazy projects, and I'll let you know what's going on so you can get your cameras set up in the right places and everything. But let us go. Let us do let us actually do stuff. There will be drama, like real drama from tackling challenges and stuff. And they kept being like, no, we gotta do it in kind of a more controlled way. So basically, do nothing. And then they got this one girl. There was one girl who came, who, while we're standing out in the hot sun, pretending to do some work, we're basically doing nothing. She says, at the request of the people doing the show, she says to me, oh, it's so hot out. Why do we have to be out in the hot sun? This is terrible. And I'm like, yeah, it is terrible. Obviously, we're just baking out in the hot sun because the TV guys said we have to do this out in the hot sun. I mean, obviously, I would never do this. And they're just like, come on, Jaimie. Argue with her, fight with her, say you have to do this. And I'm just like, I'm not making up a bunch of crap. Like, if this is what it's going to be, it is not going to be interesting for me at all. What would be interesting for me would be like, okay, guys, we need to go to town. So everyone get in the boat and let's go. And then there's going to be wind, and there's going to be waves, or maybe it's going to be hard to carry something to the boat, or somehow like there's going to be drama. Like there's always drama. Put a camera on me anytime, any day. There's stuff going on that's difficult, and if other people are helping, they're going to be like, oh, this is too hard. I can't do it. And I'm going to be like, come on, you can do it. You can handle it. Plenty of drama happens without trying to make up these artificial BS fights about nothing. And yeah, they kept trying to get me to argue with people. And I'm just like, I don't have time to argue with people. I have stuff I need to do. I have stuff that has to get done. Arguing with people, it's just a waste of time. So anyway, that was basically why that didn't work out. And that's basically been how it was every time I've been approached by, TV production companies to make any kind of show. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. And this one lady was this big TV producer. She's like, what was the last thing she said to me? It was something like, well, she wanted me to be the host of the next Mythbusters. Because, Mythbusters had just ended, and she wanted me to be the host of the next Mythbusters, which is basically going to replace it. It's not going to be the exact same show, but it's going to be the same kind of thing. You're going to fill in that void, and you're going to be the guy. And I'm just like, what do I have to move to LA, right? She's like, oh, yeah, you definitely have to move to LA. And I'm just like, I don't know if I really want to move there. I have a pretty awesome life here. And then she said, what she said next just clinched it for me. She's like, look, do you want to stay out in the sticks, barely scraping by, doing nothing, or do you want? And I was just like, all right, that's it. Nope. Like, I am not barely scraping by doing nothing here. This is what I love it here. This is amazing. Like, you're gonna have to come up with something way better to convince me to give up what I'm doing here, where I get to do whatever I think is right and whatever I want to do, to go there. And money is not going to be it. You can't show me enough money to give up the life I want. And there's a story I heard when I was a kid. I've heard it a bunch of times, where there's some guy who lives just like out in the wilderness somewhere, and he's got his fishing boat, and every day he goes out and fishes, and then comes home and his wife cooks the fish, and then he does stuff around the house. He just has a simple life. And he gets convinced, someone's trying to convince him to sell his home and move to the city. And he's like, why would I want to do that? And the person is like, look, you've got all these conveniences in the city that you don't have here. You could have everything you want in the city. You could move there, you get a job, have air conditioning, all this stuff, have all these perks. And he's going on and on, telling him about all this stuff. And he's like, look, you should see what my life is like. My life is amazing. I have to go to work a lot, but like 2 weeks every year, I get to go on vacation. I get to go out fishing. Oh, it's great. And the guy's like, why would I want to go somewhere else, do a bunch of crap I don't want, so I can go fishing for 2 weeks a year? I get to go fishing every day right now, and that's the story of what happens a lot of times when people from the wilderness move to the city, give up paradise for money, only to realize they had everything they wanted before. And now all they have is money, and they don't have enough money to buy the life they've been born into. Just because there's so much, marketing in cities is amazing. It sounds like it's going to be an awesome life. And I'm not saying that nobody likes city life and likes to go to work every day. I'm sure there's a place for that. People like that, fine. But for a lot of people, that's just not the life. Definitely not for me. Beard is looking good, sir. Well, thank you very much, Orkama. How's it going, man? Jaimie's beard is rocking out. Yeah, I need to start brushing it and stuff. It's starting to get longer. I can see Jay as a Jack Reacher type. Dude, that dude's like 240 pounds. I'd have to gain 40 pounds of muscle. What's his name? I don't remember. I really liked him, the guy who played Jack Reacher. I really liked him in Ungentlemanly Warfare, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I did enjoy that movie quite a bit. It was a little bit slow in parts, but it was Henry Cavill and the guy who plays Reacher. Why can't I remember his name right now? And a few other guys. But Henry Cavill and the guy who played Reacher, they were great together. They were really fun to watch. Okay, let's see. Lapland is the northern parts of Norway, Sweden, and Finland. Oh, very good. And he's building a house there. If I was building a house way up there, and when I left Vermont, I was debating between two different directions. One was to go to a tropical island, which I obviously ended up doing. But the other option was to go somewhere far north, go to a cold place and build an enormous greenhouse and live inside a big greenhouse, maybe build a house inside a big greenhouse. I know a few people have done that. That sounds amazing. But of course I ended up, doing the tropical island option. But I think either way it could have been pretty cool. Lapland is Finland's northernmost region, a sparsely populated area bordering Sweden, Norway, Russia, and the Baltic Sea. Very good, very good. Lapland, right. Insano, what's going on, Insano? Tubi has good movies. Rob Roy, Rob Roy was great. Pacific Heights, is Pacific Heights the one with Batman? Why can't I remember any actors' names right now? Michael Keaton, was that the one with Michael Keaton being evil? Magic, I don't know what Magic is about. Nightbreed, Lord of Illusions. Nightbreed, that was a horror movie, right? I Yeah, I haven't seen most of those. Rob Roy, though, I saw that. That was an amazing movie. Oh, great ending. Oh, really good ending of that movie. I don't want to say what it was or anything in case anyone hasn't seen it, but yeah, Rob Roy, great movie. A little disturbing, but yeah, good movie. Stephen Park says, you know what I loved about Rob Roy, and this is one of my favorite things in a lot of movies that I like, is I really like watching a movie where a character or characters have an insurmountable obstacle, like some obstacle that is just absolutely impossible to deal with, and then they figure it out. Like aliens, like Ripley. Ripley has to go into the alien hive. I feel like I'm not wrecking this for anyone. Everyone's seen this movie, right? Just plug your ears if you haven't. But Ripley has to go into the alien hive to rescue this kid, which is freaking impossible. But she does it. Anyway, she's just like, well, this is what has to be done. I have to do it. So she gets her bazooka blasters. It wasn't a bazooka, but machine gun and the flamethrower and the grenade launcher and get a bunch of flares. And she's just like, I'm going to do it. And then she freaking did it. Yeah, I love that kind of story. One of my favorite movies is has different names. In the United States, it was called The Blood of Heroes, but in Europe, it was called Salute to the Jugger, and it was just this, a post-apocalyptic future movie about these guys playing this sport, and it was impossible for them to win, and this blah blah blah, and anyway. I don't want to wreck it if anyone hasn't seen the movie. That's a really good movie, though. Blood of Heroes or Salute to the Jugger, depending on where you find it. What is Tubi? I don't know what Tubi is. Tubi has good movies. Anyway, Stephen Park says, I'd love to do something like what you do here in New Zealand, but I'm poor and everything is super expensive here. Well, I grew up in Canada, and then I lived in the United States. And the stuff I do here, I could not do in either of those countries, or in a lot of countries. Maybe I shouldn't say I couldn't do it, but I definitely couldn't do it the way I'm doing it here. Here, I can just do a lot of things. Like there's way less friction. There's way less bureaucracy in a place like this. I'm in Panama. But like in the United States, well, let me talk about Canada. So I built a house at the same time as my brother was building a house in Canada. And it took him longer to get the permits to build his house. And it cost him more to do all the paperwork to build his house than it cost me to build an entire house. Like I built a house in less time than it took him to do the paperwork, at a lower cost than it took him to do the paperwork. So that was before he laid the first brick. He'd already expended more time and money than I did building an entire house. And just the stranglehold of bureaucracy on everything you do, it really makes life difficult if you're trying to do anything unusual, out of the ordinary in a lot of countries, Canada, the United States, definitely, like all over Europe. England is possibly the worst place that I've ever experienced. Like, oh my God, if you wanted to like put up a mailbox or something, it took like 14 years of dealing with the council and paying things and getting permits. And oh my God, it was insane. I didn't actually have a mailbox experience. This is just a fictional example. But yeah, in England, the bureaucracy was out of control. After living there for 4 months, I felt like all bureaucracy was just seeping out of England, like invading everywhere else. Like it was the hub of bureaucracy. It was crazy. But yeah, I don't want to tell you what to do or anything, but if you're in New Zealand and everything is super expensive and the rules are crazy, maybe you should do it in another country. Maybe you should move somewhere else and do it. Although it definitely helps to get out of being super poor first. Like before I moved here, before I even went off grid for the first time in Vermont in the United States, I just spent a while saving money, just getting ahead, just getting the tax man off my butt, just saving enough money that I had some breathing room and could buy some land and still had enough money to like live for a year or so, buy a bit of materials, start working on things before I had to start working for money again. And then before moving here, I saved up a bunch of money. It is definitely easier to save money when you get your costs down. So, get rid of that expensive phone plan and all the stuff you don't need. Anyway, Eric, what's going on? I haven't seen you in 3 years. Catch me up in 1 minute. Hope you and your family are good. 3 years. I don't know how to catch you up on all the stuff that's happened in 3 years. You know what? Watch the Adventure Builder movie. That will catch you up on a lot of stuff. And then since then, I don't know, I've just been living. I've just been slowly improving my island, making it cooler. I have when I first got here, it was just jungly and there wasn't really anywhere to build a house. I mean, you could build it on the top of the hill, I guess, but I did a whole bunch of landscaping and then built a house here. And then I built a running trail by moving a whole bunch of dirt to a spot where there was, it was kind of swampy. So I moved a whole bunch of dirt in this area over there. So now I have like a 400-meter running trail around the island. And then I have a running track on the second floor. I just needed to run. And other than that, I just been slowly working on improving everything around here. I have 2 water apple trees that are growing well that I'm very excited about. I also have 2 avocado trees that are getting big. Hopefully I'll get avocados soon. My bananas are doing well. Here, let me turn for a second here. Check out those bananas. Oh yeah. That's only a piece of a bunch. But yeah, I've been getting a lot of bananas lately. And yeah, I've just been slowly growing more food. I have a couple rambutan trees. Rambutan is like lychee net. I don't know. I don't know any other words for them, but they're delicious. I've just been working on things. Working on raising my kids, trying to make them happy and smart and healthy and encouraging them to stay curious and interested in the world. Ken says 15 years to go. I'll be 55 retired, but average life expectancy is about 60 for correctional officers. Wow. Is that because like if you're a correctional officer, you see so much crap that they end up committing suicide a lot or something? Or is it just like a lot of stress? I don't know. Why would you die so early? 60, man, that is not very long. This is really hard. This name is really hard to read with my screen screwed up. Come on, screen, quit being such a mess. Whatever. I need to get a new tablet. Lupu Scalgarius says Adventure Builder Club forever. Yes, I always follow the Adventure Builder Club values. I shouldn't say always. I try to always, but I'm sure I make mistakes. Yes, Tony says your track is awesome. Loved when your son was pulling your daughter on skates in one of the shorts you posted. Did she fall? They did fall, actually, at the end of that one. Somebody dropped a box on the track, and that's what she was screaming about. Ah! And then they hit the box, and they both crashed. They were totally fine, though. They got up. They do that a lot. They go around and around and around like crazy fast. The first time I saw them do it, I was like, oh my gosh. But they seem to be all right. I don't know. Then, yeah, when they very rarely fall. And when they do fall, they generally, fall in such a way, like they know it's coming. They know how to fall. Brutal Noodle says, hey, your tramp house is still up and good and used a lot. Well, that's great. I'm glad someone's using it. Yeah, I left that place like, I don't know, 11 years ago now, maybe something. Basscore1 says city life would be okay and affordable if we didn't have to pay for the government. Yeah, yeah. Governments are just getting out of control. You know, leadership is supposed to be something where people take leadership roles because they can handle the responsibility, right? Like that's what a real leader is someone who can handle the responsibility of the leadership role. But today, leadership has been replaced by this weird thing where people just want to rule over other people and get stuff. So becoming a true leader means you are giving up a lot. Like you have to give up a lot of your attention and your energy, and you have to take on a lot of responsibility. Like that's what you get from being a real leader. You take on responsibility. But yeah, being an unfair ruler, like instead of being leaders, people are just trying to get stuff. They're just trying to get these leadership positions so they can get stuff. And it's really stupid. That sounds awesome. Let's see. Yes, Keaton was the bad guy, right? Magic is Anthony Hopkins is a ventriloquist. Oh, I have not seen that one. The movie Magic, yeah. Sam Off Grid. This time of year, I always watch V for Vendetta. I watched that once. I saw it once, and I don't really remember it. I must have been thinking about something else. I don't know. Maybe I fell asleep. I don't remember it. Followed promptly by Count of Monte Cristo. I do remember a lot of Count of Monte Cristo. Mostly I remember the part where he escapes from prison by sewing himself into a dead person's back, or maybe he just pretended he was dead, or somehow he got thrown into the ocean with the dead bodies and had to escape and swim out of there. Slarty Barfist B says, would a greenhouse even work most of the year in high latitudes? Extremely low sun angle and day length for 6 months. Yeah, I mean, it depends how high you go, of course. If you get to the point where you're just in darkness, yeah, the greenhouse isn't going to do that much for you. But as long as you're getting, you know, some decent amount of sun in the winter, and it can come in sideways. You know, my house in Vermont is fairly far north. And I just made a big roof that blocked out most of the sun in the summer so it didn't get too hot. And then in the winter, the sun just blasted in my south-facing windows and heated up the whole place. That was awesome. But yeah, I guess it depends on how far north you get. As long as you're in some decent amount of sun, a greenhouse is pretty awesome. Mr. Landfill says, permit equals the government takes a right away, then sells it back to you. Yeah, totally. Like, to me, the idea that you would have to ask permission and pay for permission to build yourself a dwelling, a house, so insane. Like, that's just so insane. People should not accept that. Like, I don't understand how people can go through their life and just be like, oh, yeah, for me to live in a house, I have to ask permission, of course. Like, why would that be a thing? The only reason it's a thing is because people are accepting it. They're saying like, well, okay, yeah, I'll pay for the right to not be rained on and sleep in the mud. Oh, I'll pay for that. It's just, it's so crazy. People should not be accepting all that crap. Do not accept slavery. I feel like the human race in general, the only way for us to truly survive long into the future is to become completely unruly. Like to become a species that just every individual defies, like it just goes completely against our instinct to be ruled. I think that's something that has to happen for us to exist long into the future. Because as long as there are people who will happily accept someone ruling over them, that gives the wrong people massive amounts of power, because good people don't want to control others. Good people don't want slaves. Horrible people want slaves. So all the slaves of the world, the more slaves there are, the more people there are who will voluntarily become someone's slaves, the more power goes into the wrong people's hands. And that's kind of a serious situation we've got today. And not to get into details or anything, but like humans are kind of being bred to be slaves if you really look into it. There's a lot of pressure in that direction. And you don't need much pressure to have an evolutionary change over time. So that's kind of unfortunate. I do think it's a an evolutionary dead end, though. Let's see, where are we? Slarty Barfus Beast. Wait, I didn't miss anything, did I? If I missed something, just repeat it. Mr. Landfill says, here's my website. Yeah, stuff. Okay. Slarty Barfus says, at Baskor, exactly, we need a bigger budget to pay our bigger bureaucracy so we can justify a bigger budget. Yeah, it's so crazy. And a lot of the government agencies don't need anywhere near the amount of money they're using, but they're like, oh, we have to make sure we spend it all, because if we don't spend all the money, they won't give us that much next year. So let's make sure we spend all the money we're given and then ask for more. And it's just the opposite of what should be happening. It doesn't make sense. You know what would fix it? If taxes were voluntary, or even if you could just say where your taxes go. So say the police force around you is just harassing people. People would just be like, you know what? Let's not give any more money to the police force because they're not making us safer. If anything, they're making us less safe. So let's give money to NASA or something else, or just anything. Let's start our own agency of a neighborhood watch, and let's put our taxes toward that. That would fix a lot of things if people could decide where their taxes go. Evening from the mainland, Jaimie. Hello, Earthkeeper. I hope everything's going well. Leaders should be teachers. Yes, leaders should be teachers. They should also lead by examples. Kevin Palmer says permits equal taxes, equal roads, equal schools, etc. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there, but okay. Earthkeeper says most enslave themselves by having a debt mentality. Yeah, totally. Once you buy into the idea that you're supposed to be into debt, you're just buying into the idea that you're supposed to be a slave. Because once you owe money, and I had a student loan at one point, and I found it so infuriating. I paid it off in less than a year. I like ate rice and just worked like a dog and just put all my money into that loan just to get out of that situation. And after that, I was like, whoa, I am never getting into debt again, because that was horrible. When you're in debt, you can't be your own person. You're not free at all. You can't do what you want. You have to do the things to pay off the debt. You're just an indentured servant. You're a slave. All right, looks like I'm at the end of comments here. And I've been yammering on for almost an hour. Does anybody have any other questions or comments or any silly things you want me to talk about before I get out of here? Let's see, what did I wrote down a couple of things. Yeah, I talked about that stuff. Other than that, though, I think I'm going to go eat some food. My bananas aren't ripe yet, but they will be soon. Mr. Landfill says, be safe, everyone. Yes, be safe, everyone. And have an excellent evening or morning or whatever you got, wherever you are. And, always try your hardest. What do I think of aircrete? I haven't really done any aircrete. But it seems like I don't know. Yeah, I haven't played with aircrete, but it is something that I would, I've been doing things with styrocrete largely because I kept finding styrofoam in the ocean and I would pull it out of the ocean, and then I kept putting it in this pile, and I ended up with this big pile of styrofoam. And I was like, what do I do with this stuff? Like, I keep pulling chunks of it out of the ocean, and I know I don't want it in the ocean, but now it's just, I don't know what to do with it. It's just garbage. So I started, making styrocrete, just grinding up the styrofoam, mixing it with cement and sand, and making lightweight concrete. And there's a lot of that in my house. And that has worked out very well. The styrocrete has been really good. It insulates well, in terms of heat and in terms of sound. It's nice to have lighter weight stuff. It's obviously not as strong as, normal concrete with just rocks. But like for a lot of things, if it's not a weight-bearing thing, it's often kind of nice to have a lightweight concrete. So the styrocrete works really well in a lot of circumstances. My entire roof, my domed roof, which is 2 stories tall, 40 feet across, what's that, like 12 or 13 meters across? Like a 2-story big domed roof. No supports in the middle or anything. That's all styrocrete. It's got I don't know, a centimeter to like half an inch-ish of mortar smeared all over the outside. But other than that, it's just styrocrete, and that worked great. Been looking at that too. Yeah, Earthkeeper, I would definitely endorse the styrocrete, but I've never used aircrete myself, so I couldn't really say. But all right, it looks like I'm gonna go eat dinner, and everyone have an excellent thing, whatever you've got going on. Also looking at geopolymer concrete. Geopolymer concrete? What is this? What are you talking? Now I need to go look this up. All right, I'm gonna go look this up if I remember after I eat dinner. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll talk to you guys next week, I think.